Let's look at how to edit our chemical settings. To do so, we click on Preferences, and then we click Chemical Settings. There's not a lot of settings here, so we should get through this fairly quickly. The first one says, do you want to use advanced chemical tracking? The default is yes, and you should leave it as yes. The next one over says, each truck has its own chemical inventory, and it's set to no. When you're new to Hydroscribe, you should leave it as no. What this is asking is, do you want the chemical inventory to be tracked on a truck-by-truck basis? This takes quite a bit of knowledge of our inventory system, and it requires quite a bit of oversight, of attention to detail. So until you have that experience, until you have that time to really oversee the inventory system, we recommend that you leave that as no. The next one is, do you want to track chemicals used? The answer should always be yes. There is no advantage to not tracking chemicals that are used. The next one over says, do you want Hydroscribe to manage your quantity levels and pricing? When you're new to the system, we recommend that you leave that as no. When you have more experience, then you can come in here and change it to yes. If you set this option to yes, what it means is the inventory system will be actively managed by the system. So, for example, if you allow your chemical levels and quantities to get down to 0, your techs in the field will not be able to see those items because you have none in inventory. So again, until you're experienced, we recommend that you leave that set to no. Okay, the next item down says, do you want the average cost of each item like you do in QuickBooks? What that means is this. Suppose you bought a container of chemicals for $30, and next month you bought another container, but this time it costs you $35. Now the system can keep track of which container costs $30 and which container costs $35. But what that also means is that the techs out in the field, they wouldn't know which one costs what, and they would just choose one and they would use it. They may not choose to use the one that costs less first. They might choose to use the one that costs $35. What you can do to overcome that is to choose yes, average cost. And what that will do is, instead of having one container costing $30 and one container costing $35, the system will average the two and set a price of $32.50 for each container. Okay? And that's what QuickBooks does. So you have the choice of allowing the inventory system to use the same averaging technique. Okay. The second to last item says, do you want to bill for chems used in pool openings? So when chemicals are added to a pool during a pool opening, do you want to charge the customer separately for those chemicals, or are the costs of those chemicals included in the charge for doing the pool opening? If you don't do pool openings, it doesn't matter what answer you supply here. But if you do pool openings, then you have to make a decision whether you want to charge for the chemicals separately that are used during the pool opening. And the last one is the same thing for pool closings. Do you want to charge for the chemicals that are logged while the tech is doing a pool closing, if he adds chemicals? And that's it. Those are all the options that you have for your chemical settings.